Coffee with Contractors podcast. I'm your host, Demetri Stakias. As a real estate investor and entrepreneur, I work with people from all professions and walks of life. I intend to create a place to connect over a cup of joe and discuss what contractor life is all about: service, good inputs, and great outputs. I look forward to sharing these conversations with you, and I hope you enjoy what we put together. Take this time to pour yourself a nice cup of your favorite brew, sit back, and enjoy the show. Without further ado, let's welcome today's guest. Coffee with Contractors. Today's guest, our friend and brother from the Arete Syndicate, Patrick Robertson. Patrick, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Demetri. Thank you for having me here today. I'm super excited to dive right in and get that construction talk going and see how we can help some people.
Yeah, definitely. So share with the audience real quick your story, what got you to be a GC, and the standards that you set in your operation.
Whoa, real quick. That's like a 45-minute conversation. But I guess I'm a general contractor focusing high-end remodels, additions, and new construction out of northern Westchester, New York. How I got into this field is a family generational snowball. It really started with my grandfather. From what I understand, it might even go back farther than that. But my grandfather was in construction, had a few businesses of his own, one HVAC company, and he's been handy his whole life. He's actually 75 right now, still swinging the hammer. My mom, that's on my dad's side. My mom's side, he's actually, my grandfather's on my mom's side is in his 60s, and he's remodeling his kitchen right now himself.
Oh my gosh.
And my dad, he owns a residential company. He's been in this area since he was a kid, and we went to the same high school. So I grew up in the industry of construction, more or less. From a baby, I was sitting on the excavator in my dad's lap, just in it, Tonka trucks, going all through high school, sweeping floors. My father was an amazingly successful and still is contractor. He paved the way and paid for me to go to college, where I got my engineering degree down at Hofstra University. Great learning experience. Really learned how to make all this world scientific, meaning that being really logical about our approach in things and breaking things down to a systematic approach to get the best results. From there, took a swing at commercial construction in Manhattan. I worked from what I believe truly the best commercial fit out company in Manhattan, and now they're all over the world, and that's Structure Tone. Great mentors in that company and taught me a whole bunch. But ultimately what it came down to is I didn't really like Manhattan that much. Could have went to another division, but ultimately I wanted to get back out of the city, running a company of my own one day, and forging my own destiny to provide the value to homeowners that I thought they really needed.
Well, that's
And
wonderful.
the quick synopsis is I worked for my father for a couple years. Yeah, worked for my father for a couple years, and then branched out onto my own to create Momentous Building.
So, when going out on your own and getting your own first job, like talk to us about just how to get over that fear of like knocking on that door, because you shared earlier how you want to reach out and share who you are and what you do with a wide audience. So how do you go about that and building that personal connection with that perfect customer?
It's all about relationships in construction, and I think that's a lot of what's missing in the industry today. And that's what my company is built on. It's one of our core values is relationships. So many times in construction, we think of the project alone and delivering that product, that bathroom remodel, that addition, that home to the customer. But really, what we're providing and we should be building is the relationship, because the relationship starts before the contract is signed. It starts with that first phone call with like, hey, listen, I got an idea, Mr. Contractor, and working that through all the way to the end and then finishing strong. And that relationship should carry on for years, right? And the way I like to paint it is at the end of the project, you're going to call me back for two reasons. One, because you got another project. Two, it's to grab drinks, grab some dinner, grab some lunch, and have a great conversation.
Oh yeah, I mean, you understand that you can't just connect online. You have to connect in person, right? In their kitchen, sharing their dream, sharing what they how they go about cooking, how they go about cleaning. Like one thing that I notice in your
Mm-hmm.
content is these little features, these little things like, the thresholds. People just somehow just put thresholds and it's a bump. And you're like, "Oh, it's always been that way." And you're like, "But that's
Yeah.
not good enough." Like, talk to me about how you expand, how you go to even conferences, right? You take yourself out of, serving your customers and doing what you do best to go out to new places and learn new things. So tell us about that.
Yeah. So we you hit on two different things there. I think it's the actually maybe three that bump in the saddle, right? There's good enough, and then there's great and excellence, right? So there's two things to consider with that. One, it's that is this your best foot forward, and or does it just get the job done? Because your best foot forward, not only is it going to be better for the client to provide a better quality, but it's going to allow you to sleep better at night knowing that you executed to the best of your abilities. Second, with something silly like that, we got to think of the idea of living in place and aging in place and these different things. And over the years, we don't know what's going to happen in this home and to the people living in this home. Your child might, break his foot and have to be wheelchair bound for during the recovery, or have to have one of those scooters because they hurt their knee and take pressure off it. Going over that threshold is a huge hurdle. It's half an inch, but it's a problem. Same thing as you get older in life. So that's the first thing. You got the, actual long term approach and idea of how this space is going to be lived in, excuse me, and then also what could happen during that time period. We don't know, but let's provide a space that's going to be great for it. And then secondly, how we do that on a continuous basis and to continue to evolve, continue to learning ideas like living in place and aging in place and these different tools and techniques we can do for the home is going to these conferences, right? Listening to the expert leaders, understanding, the different types of materials and building sciences out there today to allow us to do zero drop thresholds and these different things that transform the space. So it all goes hand in hand, right? We can't just build, because eventually we're building stuff that was came out 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, and we fall behind the curve. And if that happens, we're providing a quality and a service to the clients that's behind the curve.
Wow. I mean, the fact that you apply such deep thought patterns, like and that you actually care, that people, that old saying that they don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care. Like I've pulled three grandparents in
Yeah.
wheelchairs over thresholds, so I know what that extra lift is like, and it's already enough to pick them up out of the chair and put them there and clean them up and bring them to the dinner table. But those extra moments, if it's a
Hmm.
smoother sail, or even if that ramp is, wide enough to move everybody, not the ADA standard, but the customer standard. Hey, what speaks to you? How long are you going to live here?
Yeah.
You care about that. You don't care about, hey, let me pad this bill, let me sell them something they don't need. I want them to be thrilled and happy forever because they're going to live here for as long as they want to.
Completely true.
So I'm honored that you have raised the standard.
Thank you, Demetri.
Pleasure, man. Like I have to recognize good work because I built a whole career on noticing bad work.
Yeah, yeah, yes.
And we have to work harder to make up for those who don't hit the
Hmm.
standards. And you definitely exceed the standard. In fact, like you said, you inspire. From the time we know each other through our network, like you inspire me to raise my own bar. So I already thought it was pretty high, but I'm like, it ain't high enough. Like, so thanks for like kicking my own butt. And how do you get over people who are resistant to change? A lot of people who are contractors. They say, well, that's how it's always been done, or I've been at it for X years, and who are you? So how do you get over that when people try to challenge you? Because you know how this goes.
Yeah, so it's an interesting thing being the GC, right? Because a lot of times we have carpenters in house, we have painters in house, things like that. But a lot of times, like our tile setter, I'm not, I don't have enough tile work to get a tile guy going all day long. And if we want to do tile work, that's all he or she should be doing is tiling because that's a trade and a skill that needs to be practiced every single day. So being the GC, I have to be very knowledgeable in the different building sciences and practices. I don't have to be the expert in actually installing labor, but if I can become the expert in how it gets done, the steps and the procedures and the proper methods, I can start teaching these subcontractors how to do it, right? And it's not from a top-down demanding aspect, right? So let's stick with tile, right? Liquid applied membrane waterproofing has been proven to fail time and time again. It starts to delaminate once the moisture gets on there long enough and starts to fail and these different things. But you throw in a product like Schluter, which we love to use, and there's different sheet membrane waterproofing out there that you could argue it's better than Schluter. It's not, but the idea is teaching these gentlemen and these women that, hey, listen, the material might be 35% more. But if we do this correctly, not only are we providing a lifetime warranty to the client, which on my end, I can definitely sell a client on that, but B, if we do Schluter uh, sheet membrane, we can tile in the same day. We don't have to do waterproofing for 2 days. Tile the same day. So now we're saving 3 to 4 hours of drive time and these different things where you could literally tile a shower and waterproof it in a single day if you wanted to, if you're skilled. Single day. It's not a 3 day journey anymore.
Well, we pay for speed, and by sharing the process and their cleanup techniques. Like when I was a kid, like I don't have the same story as you, but I can relate a lot because
Mm-hmm.
from 6 years old, I carried my dad's tool bag. That's how we connect, is through work and and getting the job done. And it was, hey, what's my job
Mm-hmm.
today? Here's the broom. All
Yeah.
right, what else can I do? No, clean. once we, once we have a clean workspace, then we can get to work. I'm like, all right. Then you learn. At first, you resist. You're like, oh, come on, there has to be
Mm-hmm.
more to than like. No, this is the standard. Hit this, do this
Mm-hmm.
really well, and then we'll move to job two. And so, this humility is something that needs to be relearned. I'm not saying we have to be open to growth. A lot of people have a fixed mindset. But how do you go about stretching somebody's mindset? And when do you just say, you know what, this person is not a
Yeah,
good fit for
so
my
it's
team?
really finding people that align with your values and your outlook on life and how you want to handle your projects, right? I have many conversations with subcontractors and I can tell when we talk about how we want to handle a job and these different things, how it's going to go, and cleaning is a huge part of it. Organization is a huge part of it. The idea of like, hey, like, when we step on a job, like you're going to do your best. You don't have to be perfect, but you're going to do your best. So it comes down to personal values. And then from there to invoke change, say, hey, listen, here's a better way to do it, or here's a better way to keep the job cleaned. It's really just painting it in the benefits to them, right? So if it's like, hey, listen, if you keep this job clean, right, you will be able to get to the next job faster, or starting tomorrow will be better. Or, hey, listen, here's what happens when you keep a job clean. The client walks in at 6 o'clock at night when they get home from work. They inspect the job. They pat me on the back because their house actually looks like it's immaculate, even though it's in construction phase. And you know what that means? Is that me and you, Mr. Tile Setter, Mrs. Tile Setter, we can continue to get more jobs and we can continue this relationship and building it from project after project after project, right? So it's not only, you don't want to walk in there, it's like, keep my job clean and you're fired and these different things because that's really not going to go anywhere. Like contractors are hard headed. Like we're hard headed people. Like you coming on my job and you tell me I'm doing a disaster job, I'm going to kick you off. I'm going to like, get out of here. What are you doing? But if you said, hey, listen, I found out this cool technique to frame the wall like this and that, and I'm going to be like, how? Show me. Like teach me. Like, that's the difference, right? And that's how we have to approach people. And in construction, there's a lot of egos, there's a lot of this alpha male toxic. I'm not even going to call it toxic masculinity. It's just kind of being ego driven and unhealthy, and that's what gets into people's way. So going back to the values, that's how you weed it out, right? Not everyone's a good fit for Momentous Building, but there's tons of people that want to show up every day and do their best.
So momentous building, like what is your mission? What do you truly stand for, in like in the briefest way possible?
The briefest way possible, our company was created to deliver a customer experience unlike any other by providing a product that is unparalleled and a journey through the process where the homeowner is filled with trust, satisfaction, and relaxation.
Wow. I mean, do you know that most people have lowered their expectations so much that to get even one thing they're thrilled. So if you hit the mark and build standards of excellence consistently, reliably, and in a way with, like I said, delivering a customer experience that they're going to remember forever. Like, you don't think they're going to toot your horn. You don't think they're going to send referrals and all your neighbors. You know, you go into these new neighborhoods, and I know that you have aspirations for so much more. Like, real estate flipping.
Mm-hmm.
This enters you into new spaces. So, talk to me about that. Talk to me about like what's your next. Where do you foresee yourself
In
in
a
a
year,
year?
in a
And
year from now, let's look a long game, right? Because everyone in construction looks at a year or business and business in general. We look at like what's coming. What do you want for the next year? What do you want for the next 2 years? What does your life look like in 3 years from now? But that's such a short term vision of where you want to go. And I always look at like where am I going to be in 10 or 15 years, right? And I keep that in mind because it comes back to relationships, right? Like, listen, I might take a job. I priced it out wrong. Things happened. I didn't make any money on it. I don't know, right? It happens. But I did my best and provide the best quality to the customer, and they don't know any of this. They think everything went smooth sailing, right? Because they don't know I'm broke from this job. But if I can deliver that, right, it's the long term game where 15 years from now, when they want to redo their kitchen or whatever it is, they at least I hope I provided enough value that they would call me back. So where am I in a year from now or 5 years from now? We're gonna be our mission is to be the best custom home builder in Northern Westchester and Fairfield County, Connecticut. So Westchester, New York, Fairfield County, Connecticut. We want to be the best high end custom homes. That's where we're headed. In terms of beyond that, yeah, I want to get into real estate investment to maybe some spec houses that we build on with the idea of more of a custom home spec house for a client, right? Not this track home build. I don't find a lot of interest in that, although there is tons of beauty in it. But I find the beauty and the challenge and excellence and high quality work. That's where our passions are. So we're going to get into the real estate. We're going to dive deeper and build up this custom home division. And, eventually, like we might be doing, multifamily projects, right? Because our vision is to serve the client. And if we can serve 20 clients, 40 clients, 60 clients by doing multifamilies and provide a transformational home for people and their families, let's do it, right? I love it.
Wow. I mean, that's moving because, it's not just about taking something from a magazine and bringing it to a house. It has to fit the space. It has to fit the customer's needs. And, there's
Hmm.
taste do change with the times, but, good work is standard. Last. And, I go to some homes, I'm from Philadelphia originally. So if you look at stuff that was built, the woodworking, the
Hmm.
metalwork, it's still there. It didn't change. Today we got a
Yeah.
fake world. We got a panel filled world. They build houses sometimes with brick and
Hmm.
then they go panel on the rest, right? And then when somebody comes to you with an idea, a customer, and you're like, listen, I can install this and I'll do it the best I can, but there are better materials. Like, do you step in and say, you know what, I care about you that much that I got to get you what works better?
Yeah, I mean, I lead them down the track of here are the pros and cons to everything, right? Um, we don't always run into situations where people are picking out designs that are completely out of the space, right? If a client loves a teal blue or coral on the walls, it's their bathroom, it's their kitchen, it's their house. Like, this is their space. They should deserve it. Who am I to tell them they can't paint their walls coral? Like, do it up. Like, love it. But in terms of the cheap material, I have that conversation. I said, hey, listen,
Yes.
exterior, moldings, right? We either do cedar or AZEK. Like, those usually are building products. If you want to do, you know, if you want to do pine, get ready to get replaced in 15, 10, 15, 20 years, because it's going to start rotting. Doesn't matter how well you do the painting, you're going to do this project again. If you do a cedar or an AZEK, the AZEK's going to last a lifetime. But if you go with a cedar, hey, listen, it's more sustainable. It gets recycled when it comes off the house. The AZEK, you won't have to worry about it, but if it ever did come off the house and you want to replace it, well, it's still going to be around in 1,000 years, right? That's the only problem. So there's a sustainability issue with it. Um, we walk down that track of what they want to do, and I try to guide them on providing the best material that fits their needs, and that's what it really comes down to. Um, and if they like the fake veneered look of plastic and composites, then that's fine. But that's a conscious choice. We can't control people's choices, and I don't ever force designs on anybody.
I think that's wonderful that you're accommodating, because there's a lot of
Mhm.
stereotypes to kind of overcome in this business, and one is that you got the brutal contractor, who's kind of a bully, who has an air on them because they've been in business forever and doesn't want to get out of bed and
Mhm.
doesn't work out. You have routines. Talk to us about your morning routines and how that sets you apart.
Yeah, so I got a pretty wild morning routine, but it helps me be my best. I don't know if it's because I got a lot of demons in the closet, but it helps me get my head straight. And for me, what that looks like, I wake up at like 4:20 every single day. I do my affirmations, I do my gratitude, I do some mobility, I pray, and then I go to the gym every single morning. I get there at 5:30 ish. I'm usually stepping out, around 7:30, 8. I get my reading in the morning and do another round of affirmations and gratitude. And what this does is it helps me set up the day. Maybe some of you other contractors out there, people listening to this, we all say we got to fill up our cup before we pour it out into other people. So I make sure my cup's filled every single day. So that way, when I show up to the job site, when I show up to the phone call, when I show up to, podcasts like this, my head's straight, my thoughts are clear, and I can be the best that I can be for the people around me.
And you honor those that you serve by doing that, bringing your best peak state forward. And like I said, you inspired me to work out more. So thanks for that. I mean, like I said, you're being good to yourself isn't
It's
just good
respect.
for you, but it's good for others. And so, it's not it's a collective. It's a collective gain. So, thank you for your commitment to being better, because I think at some point, if someone's going to lose jobs to you in the future, hey, what did he do different? Let me study that so I can improve my own game rather than complain. And most contractors, I don't want to speak for everyone, but there's this consensus of, oh, when I get around to it, oh, I'll show up this time. Oh, I promised, right? Talk to me about honoring your word. And then if you say it's going to take a week and something happens, how you communicate that.
Yeah. So, funny enough, two of our other core values are integrity and communication. So the way I look at integrity, right? You can get the literal definition and everything, but the way I define it for myself and the company is that what I say I'm going to do, I do it, right? That might be promises to other people. A lot of times it's promises with ourselves. So if we say we're going to start working out, let's start working out, right? Let's do it. When we say we weren't going to overeat, let's not overeat. These different things, right? So those are some examples. So if I say to a client, "Hey, listen, our proposal is going to come, February 16th. And, that's 2 weeks from right now. If we can get to you faster, we absolutely will, but I don't want to make promises I can't keep, right? And then, things come up in construction. Job sites get really demanding, unexpected incidences and these different things. And if it's say we said 16th, say it's the 12th, right? And our last week blew up. Well, I'm going to send an email, a text, a phone call, um, letting them know, like, hey, listen, we're on your project. We haven't forgotten about you, but we're trending about 3 days late. I hope that's okay. And we're looking forward to getting this over to you as soon as possible. So, what did we do? We acknowledged the fact that we weren't keeping our word, but more importantly, we we communicated. We let them know. We didn't let them, when they go to bed on February 16th and they didn't get a proposal, you know what they were thinking about all day long probably if they wanted to get this project done? Where's my goddamn proposal? But if they knew that it wasn't coming, they wouldn't have thought about it all day long. They'd be like, "Oh, we ain't getting it today. It's okay." So that's the integrity part, and we got to make sure we keep that.
Yeah. And that timeliness, that certainty, that delivery, it means everything. What inspired me to even become a general contractor was one person who was over an hour late. And instead of apologizing for being late, he says, "Well, I'm the contractor." I'm thinking, well, there's only one God, and it's not you. So I'm going to do what you do. All right, welcome back. Coffee with Contractors. I apologize, we had some technical difficulties. We want to pick up where we left off with Patrick today. Patrick, welcome back.
Thank you, Demetri. Yeah, different day, little wardrobe change, but we're back here and we're ready to finish the show out. And Demetri, how do you want to close this thing out? What do you want to talk about right now?
So, what I'd like to talk about is the trades has this reputation, right? And we're working diligently to kind of change that. Now, go into what people think in the past, and it's the incorrect thinking. And what would you tell young teens in terms of this could be you?
Yeah, so growing up and definitely in today, right? I'm a young guy and I grew up in the construction industry, so I know what it's like. I know some of the false beliefs that people have put on the industry, and that is that it's backbreaking work and that there's it's your end of the day, you're tired, you're 45 years old and you're broken, you're stressed out, and all of these different things that quite frankly just aren't true. There is beauty in working a good day, getting dirty and doing physical labor. There's honor, there's fulfillment in it. There is beauty in creating artwork with your hands. And don't get it wrong, this is what we're doing is creating artwork. And you see that into any building, any home worth walking into, you see the artwork. So that's something that we really have to change in the industry is that um, this is backbreaking and miserable work that somehow going and sitting behind a desk for 12 hours a day or 10 hours a day is any more fulfilling than getting outside, getting up, being able to walk around and move around and use your body to create something. And then the second part of that is that, the long term trajectory. A lot of people think the contractors are broke, whether you're working in the field, a business owner, management. That's just not the case. I mean, most wealthy people, I mean, they're builders, right? The laborers. I mean, we're out of New York, right? And if I want a good project manager, he's going to get paid over six figures, 150,000. If I want a foreman carpenter, he's at 80 or 90,000. If I want a laborer, right, they're going to start off at 50 grand because that's just what the going rates are. And a lot of people go through 4 years of college and they only get paid 45 grand. So they got 4 years of debt, six figures of debt, and they're still not making any more. Meanwhile, if you come work for us, you come work for any other good contractor, in 4 years, you're going to be making 75 grand if you're diligent.
That's a beautiful process, and people need to kind of. So, guys, listen to that a few times. When if you're young or if you're in that point of life where you've had a job and you're like, where do I redirect myself? How long do you think, if someone was dedicated and committed to learning a trade, whether it be plumbing, carpentry, on the job, whether it be an apprentice or in school, how long do you think it would take until you're saying, you know what, I'm happy to take this person on the job?
Yeah, I mean, a lot can happen in 2 years. I think there's this 2 year period. If you're really green, you didn't grow up in the trades, you're coming from being an English major, right? I don't know. But you don't really know too much about construction. I'm talking about the bottom. 2 years, you're going to be a laborer, you're going to be a helper, you're going to be apprentice learning a lot. And if you're diligent, you have a lot of drive, you're going to get elevated. And then, you're mostly running a job site between year 3 and 4. And on the 5th year, you could be a foreman on any single company, working your way up towards management. Or you might just love running job sites and doing the labor, and you can be handsomely rewarded at that. And all it really takes is being diligent, putting your best foot forward, and willing to learn. I mean, that's really all it is that your pay cap is how many responsibilities do you want to take, and how good you are at your craft, and how well you can communicate. So between those three things, there really is no pay ceiling in construction. If you work for a company, you can get paid handsomely, and if you want to start your own company, there's certainly no ceiling.
It's inspiring because to think both of us started with humble roots of sweeping the floor, right? And then we went from there. Because we've dedicated. You show up on time. You're early, right? You always look for that extra something to do, not to get the points, not to get the likes, not to get a little bit extra money, but because it's right. Personal responsibility, cleaning up
Yeah.
the job site, picking up trash outside. These little things make society a little better, right? I mean, just for myself, I go to the beach a lot. I see trash on the beach. I'm picking up. I don't work for the department of cleaning things up, but it's the right thing to do, right? And so I'm
Yeah.
honored to be in this group with you, right? Arete, right? What does this mean to you, right? This the symbol. What does it mean to you? And who needs to wear this? Who needs
Arte
to who needs to be in this group that's not in here yet?
in Arte.
Yeah. What does this group mean to you? Like when you joined it and how it built.
Arte to me means, I mean, Andy says it so well, and I live by it, is pursuing your own true potential, pursuing excellence. And what does that mean? That is mean being your best, and then also being the best for everyone else around you and for the world, right? So we're not just producing and wanting to become successful, whatever successful means to you, right? But it's not just for us, it's not just for our family, it's for everybody, it's for our community, it's for raising it up. And there is a certain subsets where we have to pursue excellence at every course of the path to make sure that happens. So it's, when you go to the gym, putting away weights that aren't yours, but it's better for the community. Picking up trash when you see it on the ground. You don't have to be the guy going to the public parks picking up everything. But if you're walking by, pick up the trash. It takes 2 seconds out of your time. You're not going to get diseases, and it's being better for the community. And those are little instances where we can pursue excellence and help raise the community up. And if we all do this, we live in a better world, right? And it's some doing things like that is putting your best foot forward and building up your brain, because every once in a while we're gonna slip. We're gonna fall off. We're human, right? Like we're gonna go to the gym or you get tired and maybe we didn't rack one of our weights, right? But hopefully someone else behind us is having a little bit straighter day and they're going to put our weights, back, right? And we're helping each other raise the community up, and we all end up in a better place. And that's what Arte is. It's just being our best on all fronts.
It most certainly is, and I think we're on different levels of personal growth, and so the fact that we're kind of understanding and graceful that we're all on different levels of the journey, and I can't impose expectations on anyone except on myself. And
Mm-hmm.
looking in the mirror every day and knowing what I'm capable of pushes me so hard to perform. And
Mm-hmm.
what I'd like to ask you is, I think in the future you want to have your own custom home, right? Could you have you had in mind one classic feature and one modern feature that you're just going to have is a must have in your future home?
Yeah, so modern, I would have to go with big windows, man. Big windows. I love the steel frame windows. They're not that energy efficient in terms of the framing and everything when we look at high performance housing. However, I got some ideas to work around that. I'm sure there's going to be some new technologies coming in the future to really work around that issue. Because not necessarily, it's not about the pane of the window, but the framing of it. Anyway, that's super specific. But that modern feature, I really like that. I like a lot of light coming in. And then a classic feature is that I like natural materials. I don't like the grays. I don't like the bleached whites. I like walking into a space and feeling the warmth, the coziness, the peace that comes with, some of the tans, some of the browns, some of the greens, right? And using the natural materials to bring that out to make me feel like personally, like when I come home, this is my peace, this is my sanctuary, and that's where that blend comes in for me to really craft a dream home.
Wow. And then how soon do you see yourself in that dream home?
I think that it depends, right? I think that life is long. I'm 27, probably going to build a few houses purely out of enjoyment, right? Um, this first version of the house might be 6 or 7, 8 years away, and then the ultimate one might be 20 years away, and I'm okay with that because these are going to be homes that like when I build them, they're going to be here in 300 years. They're going to be standing.
I'm inspired by these homes built in the 1800s by German immigrants that have been neglected
Hmm.
with tons of excuses, tons of maintenance issues. And then I get the opportunity or the privilege to fix this. First, I thought it was a burden. Now I'm like, wait, I'm preserving history. So you're creating
Hmm.
history, you know, and as a creator rather than just a consumer, you leave a lasting impact and create a legacy for others to be inspired and honored. So I'm honored by you. You drive me, and I want your message to be magnified through the world. So where can people reach you?
Yeah, so we're really trying to grow our YouTube channel. You can just search Momentous Building. We're right there on YouTube. My Instagram personally, where I kind of do our daily stuff and more of our beauty shots. That's at Mr. Project Patrick, and on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn too, Patrick Robertson, and kind of those are our three main social spheres we're sitting on these days.
Wow. Well, I look forward to just just your rise, and I'm honored to be your friend, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. And all the best, man. All the best.
Thank you so much, Demetri. I really appreciate this opportunity and getting a chance to hang out and speak with you.
Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Coffee with Contractors. We hope you enjoyed today's episode as much as we have. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you're a contractor interested in joining us as a guest, please send us an email at coffeewcontractors@gmail.com. We'd love to have you.